Hello, today in the lesson we will study another example in which we will add, subtract, divide and multiply decimal fractional numbers. The example looks like this. We're going to add 3 whole numbers, 2 decimals. We'll need to add the result of dividing 9.6 decimals by 4. And then we need to subtract the next expression. So 9 minus 6.3 plus 0.6 totals approximately 6.9. And then we must divide it by 1.5 to calculate the quotient. In order to solve this example correctly and get the right answer, we must arrange items in a specific sequence. So by rule, the first action we look at is the action that's in the brackets. We see 2 parentheses, so I'm looking at the first parenthesis and write down 1. Then from 9 I subtract that result, and that is the second action. The third action is to divide by 1.5 tenths. And then let's go back to the beginning of our example and see if we have a multiplication or division action. We need to divide 9.6 by 4, so I write that down as the 4th action, and then we'll go on to the next one in order. That would be the 5th and 6th. And let's start solving. The first step, we need to add 0.3 tenths to 6.3 tenths. I will not consider and write this action in a column, because it is very easy to add to 6 integers 0 integers, it will be 6 integers. And to 3 tenths add 6 tenths, you get 9 tenths. So, the result of this action is 6.9 tenths. The second action, our plan is to deduct from 9. Subtract 6.9 tenths. Let's take our time with this action, because I have to write this down in a column. But I remember that I have to have the decimal point under the decimal point in subtraction and addition. But we can see that 9 doesn't have a decimal point, so I have to write it down. In order to write it down, I can put a decimal point after, place a 0 after the number if there is a decimal point following the 9. I only write down one sign because I only have one sign in the subtraction, so I write 9 point minus 6.9 tenths. And now I can write that down in column form. So, 9.0 tenths minus 6.9 tenths. And I'm doing the subtraction. Since it is impossible to subtract 9 from 0, I will compensate by acquiring an entire unit of 9. That leaves me with 8, not 9, so that I don't forget. I've written the 8 here. And now I'm going to subtract. 10 minus 1 is 9, making it 10, totaling out to 10 minus 9, which is 1. A decimal point. And from 8, not 6, that would be 2. The outcome is 2.1 tenths, altogether equal to 2.1. The next action is division. So I have to divide 2.1 tenths divided by 1.5 tenths. In this case, you can do the division by converting it to an ordinary fraction, or you can do a column count. We know how to divide in columns, so I'm going to write this division down as a division of ordinary fractions. So I will write 2.1 tenth as 2.1 tenth divided by 1.5 tenths. You have the freedom to perform this action as you desire, if you want to. Good at dividing in columns, please do. But I think it's more advantageous to divide here by converting these numbers to a common fraction, which is a mixed number. And it turns out that 21 tenths, we have to divide by 15 tenths. And in this case, we remember how to divide fractional numbers into each other. In order to divide a fraction by a fraction, we need to invert the second fraction and replace the division sign with a multiplication sign. That's 21 tenths, multiplied by 10 and 15. 10 and 10 we divide by 10, it remains 1 and 1. And 21 and 15 we divide by 3. 21 divided by 3, that would be 7. 15 divided by 3, that's 5. The result is 7/5. Of course, I could leave it like that. But the thing is, upon examining my example, I noticed that all the numbers are in decimal form. Thus, I am going to convert the fraction 7/5 into a decimal fraction. The outcome will be equal to 1.2/5. And I can write 1.2/5 as 1.4. Why does that happen? Well, because if I multiply 5 times 2, I get 10. The denominator of this fraction is 10. And in order to obtain the numerator, I need to multiply it by 2. This results in 1.4. The decimal form of this fraction can be written as. Now the next action is the fourth action. 4. I need to divide 9.6 by 4 approximately. In this case, you and I will still remember how to divide a decimal fraction into a number of the column. So 9.6 tenths I'm dividing by 4. What is the result? I'm dividing an integer fraction. 9 divided by 4 is 2. Twice multiplication of 4 yields 8. 9 minus 8 would be 1, and I need to drop the 6, but I see that the decimal point is in the way, so I put a decimal point. And then 16 divided by 4 equals 4. This calculation results in the decimal value of 2.4. Please observe that I am making a choice. 2 different ways of solving the problem. The way I feel, I'm comfortable with. You will do the same. Currently, I must carry out the 5th step in the process. And that's to add the result of the 4th action to 3.2. So, I write down 3.2 plus the result of the 4th action. The result of the 4th action is 2.4. You can write down 2.4 for yourself. When I combine 3.2 with 2.4, the total is 5.6. This is the result of the 5th step and the final step. I must subtract the result of the 5th step from the result of the 3rd step. So the 6th action is the result, 5.6 minus the result of the action where I divided by 1.5. That would be 1.4. Performing subtraction from 5.6, I subtract 1.4. That's 4.2, which would be the answer. As we worked through this example, you and I have been applying the rules of working with ordinary fractions and decimals. As a result, we got the correct answer. At the next lesson, we'll look at another example. And that's all for today. Goodbye and see you again.